So in this episode, I'm going to talk to you about how to get your first clinical research associate role in this field within the UK. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Banker and I'm here to raise clinical research awareness and help others like you break into the clinical research field. So if you're a final year student, you're a transitional professional, or you're a new graduate, this is the place to be, and stay tuned for more. Firstly, guys, you need to think about gaining relevant education. So this is within the scope of your bachelor's degree, and you'll see on a lot of job descriptions that they do mention you should have a bachelor's degree in life sciences, anywhere within the healthcare sector such as nursing, pharmacy, medicine, and also life sciences. So if you don't have a degree in this field, you can think about pursuing a master's within clinical research, and this is quite common within the UK setting in a lot of universities. So you might look for qualifications titled clinical research, clinical trials, drug discovery, or even clinical drug development, which is what I did my master's in. And you can either look at degrees in your Masters of Science or Masters of Research. The Masters of Science is usually more core modules, and less credits would go towards your overall thesis project, whereas your Masters of Research is more like a mini PhD. So you'd have your core modules and then you'd have more credits going towards your dissertation. And you can also think about postgraduate certifications within the clinical research field. So guys, the next thing you want to think about is any extra qualifications or certifications you can get to boost your credentials and to put on your CV. I always like to mention the Good Clinical Practice certification, and this is usually a legal requirement for anybody working with patient data or within the patient-facing roles. So you want to think about websites where you're able to get the free certification and it's accredited, e.g. from the CPD. Websites you can go to are NIHR, so the National Institute of Health Research, or you can go for the Global Health Training Center website. So I usually also like to emphasize that you're taking in the case studies, you're making notes as you're going through that good clinical practice training, because you want to take in as much as possible and you want to really have that foundation and know, especially when you're going into the interview, you want to know what you're talking about. You want to try and have a good flowing conversation with the interview panel to show that you've really taken a lot from that good clinical practice certification, and now you're here to build on that foundational knowledge and really apply it to the CRA role. So next, you want to think about what kind of roles you can leverage to finally break into your first CRA role. So I commonly mention clinical trials assistant, which is doing a lot of administrative tasks, helping out with different core members of the team, and maybe preparing documentation or just doing like a lot of filing in that sense. And then you also want to think about roles such as a clinical data manager, for example. That's usually just entering data into case data collection forms or within a clinical research database, and just ensuring regulatory compliance and data integrity. And another role that I typically mention is your clinical research coordinator or clinical trial coordinator role, which I use interchangeably. So this is more of a patient-facing role and just seeing patients, booking patient visits in, and basically managing the project from that aspect. And you can use that as a stepping stone to become a CRA. What you can also do is look for entry-level CRA roles. You can typically find these within a clinical research organization, also known as CRO, which is your companies such as MedPace, IQVIA, Parexel, Syneos Health, PPD, Icon. And then you might also want to focus applications towards academic institutions and within universities, which is what I did. And that is a good stepping stone to getting your first CRA role, because they're more willing to take you in at entry level, train you up, and just really get that good training that you need to develop within your first CRA role. You also see that you can apply for clinical research associate training programs with a lot of CROs. So that's, like I've mentioned before, the CROs such as PPD and ICON, they often provide CRA training academies, which is a good, it's a couple of months of training, intense training to really get you into the CRA role and understand what you need to do in your role. These programs are very competitive, but they provide structured training to fast track your CRA learning. Again, networking is another big thing you need to do to break into your first CRA role. You really need to leverage your LinkedIn. So you need to connect with recruiters, connect with those clinical research recruitment agencies, clinical research professionals that are CRAs particularly, so they can give you any tips and advice for a particular organization or how they were able to break into the field as well. And really just join clinical research networking groups. So you've got your Society of Clinical Research Associates, also known as SOCRA, and then you also have the Accredited Association for Clinical Research Professionals, which is ACRP, and these are good stepping stones to break into your first CRA role and join clinical research networking groups like these. And you'll find that these are paid organizations. Also, what you want to do is attend networking conferences, online webinars, and any local meetups near you to really put yourself out there and break into that first CRA role. Typically for the CRA role, you really need to leverage your transferable skills. So you really need to think about what skills you're going to showcase, and like in the interview, for example, or what you've had in previous roles and in university, and how you can bring that to your first CRA role. So you want to think about those roles such as attention to detail, organization, timekeeping, ability to prioritize workloads, and maybe utilizing your IT skills and use of IT systems. Another thing that I mentioned is if you've ever worked within a hospital or in a healthcare facility, you want to leverage those experiences you've had in a therapeutic area and really highlight those on your CV. And if you're lucky enough to ever have experience within a particular phase, you also need to highlight the phases that you've worked on and how you're able to contribute in those phases. And that's also a good transferable skill to have in your CV. Again, knowledge of regulatory requirements within the UK are good, such as understanding of the MHRA, the HRA. So your MHRA is the Medicines and Health Regulatory Agency, HRA is Health Regulatory Authorities, and then you've got the REC, so the Research Ethics Committee. And finally, guys, once you've done all of that, you're in a good position to apply for those entry-level CRA roles. So again, within the clinical research organizations such as IQVIA, PPD, ICON, and also leveraging the academic space, so academic institutions and universities, and really going for that entry-level role. So you can find opportunities on job boards such as jobs.ac.uk and Indeed and LinkedIn, particularly for those academic roles. And within the CRO setting, you can also leverage LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor is another one as well. And guys, also look at particular company websites and go to their careers page and see the kind of jobs they have available and if there's any within that entry-level CRA scope. That's it for today, guys. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Remember to comment any questions you have and subscribe to stay tuned for more content within the clinical research scope and how you can break into this exciting industry. So yeah, guys, until next time, let's continue to strive for success and make a difference. See you later. Bye.